Hey, good morning, everybody. How you doing? Sean Lutz coming to you from my home studio here in Dallas, Texas. Today is November 25th, 2025. This is going to be episode number 18 from Sea to Light Sports, Detroit Red Wings NHL update. Let's just jump right into it, folks. Last night, the Red Wings were in New Jersey. Bada bing, bada boom. Square off against New Jersey Devils. To see if we can keep our victory going, coming off the fresh victory and securing first place the other night at Little Caesars. But those just jump right into the scoring here quickly. I'm going to move around. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. But right off the bat, I thought we looked good. We had some good opportunities there. Had a couple power plays there that we had some good looks. We just couldn't convert. Hats off to New Jersey for killing off, but it seemed to me that killing those two first penalties off in the first period that gave them the momentum, and they started to bring it to us, and which they did. Which at the 12:54 mark, they struck first with Meyer getting New Jersey on the board there. A few minutes later, you had DeBrincat at the 16:33 mark, even it up 1-1. Then at the 17:58 mark, late in the first period, you had Hershey 17:58 mark give New Jersey the 2-1 lead. And then this one here really stung here at the 19:04 mark, where Glass gave them the 3-1 lead at the end of one. Now, man, we were leaky, man. I don't know how you can say deflections and all that, but we were leaky defensively. And the way I look at it is it's a deflection, but you know what? That was somebody's man that should have been covered that deflected. Yeah, you get some freaky ones, but if you look at these replays, these guys were wide open, and they shouldn't be standing there. Harmonic, he had a terrible day. But nonetheless, it was a 3-1 after one, heading into the second period here, where we were looking like we were forming a comeback, making it a game there. And then real early, you had James Van Riemsdyk, bam, on the power play at 1:30 mark, narrowing that gap to one, making it a 3-2 New Jersey lead early in the second period. A couple minutes later, maybe 7 minutes later, you had Brown, give New Jersey that fourth goal there at the 8:37 mark, making New Jersey a 4-2 lead. Again, man, leaky coverage on the defense in our own zone. That's the way it ended after the two periods. But if you go look at the stats, after you gave up 4 goals, and you had on defense, you had Harmonic was a -3, and Schrott was -3. Blown coverages. The offense looked good. The team defense looked good in the neutral zone and in the offense zone on the forecheck. But we just had too many of those mental mistakes and blown coverage and turnovers in our own zone. And then also, I think we got out battled. I think we lost a lot of the one-on-one puck battles, which we shouldn't lose. But nonetheless, I thought we played a pretty decent road game, other than those a couple blown coverages there. But anyway, let's move on into the third period. Detroit down 4-2. See if we can stage another comeback like we did the other night at Little Caesars Arena. But we came out, and then Dylan Larkin at the 10:02 mark narrowed the gap, forming our comeback here. Larkin, 10:02, 4-3 New Jersey at that time. And there was a lot of play going back and forth. I thought we looked good. Again, we gave up too many chances, and just the blown coverages in our zone, and then a couple bad periods. But we showed a lot of a couple bad plays, but we showed a lot of heart coming back and making it a game. It was a one-shot game there, and there was plenty of opportunities for us to come back. And then there was one that hit on Raymond, which wasn't called, which it was more than interference. And I hope to see the league look at that. Here you got a star player with Lucas Raymond get nailed, not even paying attention. Not Raymond is not some kind of little weak ass little pussy. If he knows he's going to hit, he's going to gear up for it. Here's Raymond skating towards the bench. Relax. The puck's not anywhere around him. He gets his ass nailed. No call on that. That shit happens, but I want to see the league jump in on that. You got to protect your star players. That if that was McJesus or Matthews, you can bet your ass that guy would have been in the box with the 5-minute fucking major. Now, moving on. We had plenty of opportunities down the stretch there. We just couldn't convert. But the boys showed a lot of heart. Other than the mistakes that we made in the first and second period in the coverages there, with the terrible night on Harmonic and Sherrod on defense, -3. You can't play that way. But it was a one-shot game. We could have been in there. It's a good effort all around, other than a couple mistakes. So let's just move right on, man. There was not bad for a Monday in the NHL for a Monday night, going up against Monday Night Football. But let's just run through the scores here really quick. You had Tampa Bay over Philadelphia, 3-0. Then you had the New York Rangers 3-2 over St. Louis. Then Washington 5-1 over Columbus. You had Florida over Nashville, spanked them 8-3. Then Las Vegas over Utah 5-1. Then out west, Ottawa lost to LA 2-1. Now, briefly looking at the schedule tonight, it's not very hard. There's only one game tonight, and that's going to be my Dallas Stars. Dallas at Edmonton tonight. The Wings' next game is tomorrow. It's going to be at Nashville, at Little Caesars Arena, and that's who we play next. That'll be our last game before Thanksgiving, and Thanksgiving is Thursday. But now let's move on and quickly move on to the standings here. We have and look at the Atlantic. In the Atlantic Division, you can see that loss in a victory with Tampa moved Tampa up into the first place there. Detroit's in second with 27 points. Ottawa with 26, and Boston on the outside there. And then let's just move it on. Let's look at the conference, the Eastern Conference. You still got Carolina there up at the top with 30, New Jersey with 29, Tampa with 28, Islanders with 28, and there's our Red Wings there with 27. And then all the way down there to the 16th. Actually, if you look there, Toronto dropped to the last in the East. Man, that's hard for the Toronto Leaf, man. Having the Buffalo Sabres move ahead of you. Both of those teams are the only losers, man. Actually, Toronto is the only one with that fell under 500. And then let's look at the wild card. And then this is really, really tight. You can see there you got Tampa in first, Detroit, and then Ottawa in the 3 in the Atlantic, Carolina, New Jersey, and the Islanders top 3 in the East, in the Metropolitan. Then the wild card sets. Washington moved in there, and Boston is in there with 26 points now. And just look how tight that is, man. The top 2 spots got 26 points with Washington and Boston. Then below that, you got Pittsburgh, Montreal, Philadelphia, Florida, Columbus with 25, and then in the 8th slot, the Rangers with 24. So that's 2 points in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams. 2 points separating 8 teams fighting for 2 wild card slots. That is what you call a tight race, folks. Um, and that's just the way it's going to be for the remainder of the season. And then, and what I find interesting is if you look at the standings page on the NHL.com website, you can do it from by date. So just from one night to the next, you can look at that Eastern Conference or the Western Conference, and just see how with one win or one loss, how though, and then the parity with those teams just on a daily basis, bam, 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 bam. You can't, you can't stumble, fall, and you got to continue to play, man. Let's just see how it's going to play out for our boys here. But we got Thanksgiving coming up, and then we got a funky game on Friday at noon. But we'll cover that later. But let's see how we're going to fare out at the break. That's usually our indicator of how it's going to fare out towards the end of the season. But like I say, it's everything. It could be out the window this season because with the condensed schedule for the Olympics, man, it's everything is tight and the race is on right now. So these teams are playing intense, and then like last night for the final, I mean, it was almost like a playoff game. You can tell that we were battling trying to tie it in New Jersey. They were just trying to break us in. Their backs were against the wall because we were sticking it to them, but in kind of like playoff fashion, they were trying to draw us in, and we didn't. We kept our cool until the final buzzer, and then that's when we started to say, "Hey, man, enough of that crap." But anyway, that's going to wrap it up for this edition of Cedar Light Sports here in Dallas, Texas. Have a great day. Remember to be kind and nice to everybody. See the light, and I'll catch you on the next one.